Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look here at Loopring, which is another look. So I actually checked it out here recently, and it's done quite a lot of movement here today. So we'll take a look at that, of course. And just know, not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should always do your own research. And if you're new to the channel, I have a trading community, link in the description below, referred to as CryptoCache Premium. Really awesome experience. I can actually help you become a better trader, but also share every single trade that I take. It's kind of a hybrid signal group where I share every single trade that I take with you through Cornix, which is an automated trading bot. So it's really cool. One-click follow, the whole 9 yards. Anyways, check that out. Why don't we look at Loopring here, of course? And normally I like to look at Bitcoin as well, but we all know that Bitcoin's kind of just hovering right now, kind of going sideways between 60 and 62,000. So there's not much else to note there. But always, as a professional, I would say, having traded for a long time, looking at Bitcoin first is a very, very good rudimentary skill set to understand what it's doing. Yeah, but it's doing nothing right now, for lack of better terms. It can't make up its mind, which is perfectly fine, just consolidating. Now, looking at Loopring here, to clarify, we're up over both moving averages. That's kind of normal for the one-day chart here based on the recent price increase. Last I looked at this here, we had this this ascending wedge pattern that kind of broke to the upside, and it just kept on going here. So the last 24 hours have been super strong. We'll go ahead and look at smaller time frames to identify what's going on. But what a lot of these lines are here for, just so you know, is the previous all-time high and the previous all-time high one-day close. So this little channel right here is effectively it's basically considered to be a resistance channel. And keep in mind, it's still a resistance channel. You need to understand that. A lot of people say, hey, it broke its resistance, we're good. That's exactly why it's taking off right now. Yes. However, it hasn't closed above the one-day candlestick yet, right? So when this candlestick can close, right here, then we're good to go. And that's considered to be a support level. So if we look at what is, I think it's 94 cents. If this one-day candlestick can close above 94 cents, then that's a new support moving forward, and we're good to see this continue to increase from there, right? So just remember that. It's very important to understand. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, let's take a quick look here. And first of all, we're above 70 on the RSI. That's pretty standard. Just keep in mind, 70 can work as a support level. So if it stays up there a little bit longer, there's a good chance when it comes down, it'll continue to bounce and kind of stay above, continue that bullish momentum. Happens all the time during these type of runs, where we just see that happen a lot. Now, speaking of runs, we got a MACD convergence on 1 o'clock. We'll go ahead and take a quick look at that here on the 1-hour chart. But I'll just mark that so we know kind of roughly what triggered this, right? Because oftentimes, if you're not familiar with it, the MACD conversion on the 1-hour chart, or correction, the 4-hour chart, sorry, the 4-hour MACD convergence is a very, very important indicator for swing trade positions. In other words, you can go and take a long position based on that, and it really, really helps you kind of know that the shift in momentum shifted from bearish to bullish, okay? And that happened right here. We'll look at the 1-hour chart to identify that as well. But looking at some of these support and resistance zones here, of course, we have a previous support channel. So that if we do lose the price action, comes back down, we're looking good there. We also have this ascending wedge pattern here as well that did break to the upside once it kind of passed this resistance zone. Okay, so a lot of good things here, of course, definitely shooting up, but we want to know kind of where it's going to go from here, right? So we're going to have to look at smaller time frames to identify, just based on the fact that all this movement just happened. What we could do, though, too, for right now is kind of understand retracement and where it's going to come. So why don't we just go ahead and pull this up here, and we're going to get rid of some of these lines here because I know it's getting kind of crazy. Why don't we do this here? Get rid of this. We don't need these guys here. We'll just focus on the more relevant ones here. We can see that a lot of these support and resistance zones are fairly close to Fibonacci retracement lines. So we'll just go ahead and add, see, we're going to add this guy here as well. 0.786 on Fibonacci is a very important resistance level, and we'll go ahead and add this here as well. So apologize for a lot of lines, but they are super relevant and super important. We can get rid of these two here, and this as well, because we'll deal with that if the price were to retrace. But I feel as if one of these two lines here are going to be very strong support levels, because anytime a previous all-time high, for example, or an all-time high one-day close, when that resistance level is broken, it becomes a very, very strong support level. So I'm very confident that we're going to see one of these two lines work as a strong support. We just don't know that yet until the one-day candlestick closes, right? So look at the one-day candlestick right around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or whatever time zone that is for you. Once that candlestick closes, that'll give you the affirmation that we're heading in the right direction. But for now, there's a good chance it should kind of travel between 94 cents and $1.101. It may continue upwards, but we'll look at a shorter time frame to identify that. Let's quickly look at TT sequential here as well. We're at a 6 here, so hypothetically, we do have roughly about 3 more or actually 12 hours worth, three more 4-hour candlesticks worth of potential bullish momentum. I personally don't feel like that's going to happen because the increase here today was quite significant. In 24 hours, we've seen 117-ish% from bottom to top in only 24 hours. That's a tremendous amount of movement, and it's going to have to correct itself, right? Usually comes down about halfway, so I feel as if 94 cents will probably be the end goal here, where the price will just slowly start to kind of work its way down, if that makes any sense. All right, so again, that's just kind of what I see overall, because when you have a significant price increase like this one here, with very little consolidation, it has a tendency of coming back down about halfway from its original starting point. And taking a look at here, this is better. I like this. I mean, it's not phenomenal, but if you take a look at the fact that the price did ramp up, hit resistance, got rejected, and then came up, tested 2 or 3 more times, then shot up, that's actually very good in a sense, because we have this, somewhat of a staircase pattern. But keep in mind, staircases only work if resistance levels are broken, right? So in other words, this worked here because it kept pushing and tried again. So if this doesn't come up here again and try again, then it'll probably consolidate and retrace. So simply put, we're 8 hours into a 9-hour bull run, okay? Because we can see right here, this very first push up that got rejected, it continued to the upside. So what I'm getting at here is, typically speaking, on the 1-hour chart, it's the most, in my opinion, the most relevant, or it gives you more certainty, I guess you could say, in the sense that most bull runs last somewhere in the range of 8 to 12 hours. So TD sequential is great about identifying that, whereas once we see a 9, we should expect to see the price maybe come up a little bit further, but it'll likely consolidate or retrace right around that point if it hasn't moved up too quickly. This moved up fairly quick, but there was this nice period of consolidation here still. So with this little consolidation period, that does help. So there's a good chance the price might actually kind of stay in this channel here between 94 and $1. But again, we don't know yet until, again, the 1-day candlestick closes, right? That's a really, really big, important thing to understand. But leading into that, since we have, I would say, maybe about 5-6 more hours worth of trading left in this cycle, between now and then, I would expect the price to consolidate. And if we lose this support, you can expect the next major support level to be about 83 cents. Okay, so that's just something to note. Another thing we want to quickly look at is the Ichimoku cloud. While it's not relevant right now because the price broke up above right here, you can tell that it should work as a support level here as well. That's one thing I love about the cloud. It oftentimes works as a support level to keep the price action up once it enters back into the cloud. So we could see that happen as well. Another thing to note as well, if you are new to just say the channel or trading in general, the Ichimoku cloud is phenomenal for helping you identify breakouts, right? So if you look back here, anytime the price breaks above the cloud, and this one here as well, you can see that the price shoots up from there, right? This one may not be that significant, but it was about 40%, which is still very good, by the way. But compared to this one, obviously it's smaller, but you can see this 96% increase as soon as it broke over the cloud. So literally, you could have joined in the fun here just based on the fact that the price broke right above the cloud at that time, and then the price went skyrocketed from there. Now keep this in mind, this is also concurrent with the 4-hour chart, right, with the MACD convergence. So we take a look at the MACD convergence here. This is what I marked here. Remember, I marked this because we had a convergence on the MACD, right? So this guy right here, X marks the spot, that is essentially where the MACD converged, right? And what do you know? We look at the 1-hour chart, the exact same time, maybe 2 or 3 hours later, we have a break above the cloud on the 1-hour chart. So 4-hour MACD convergence, 1-hour chart Ichimoku cloud. If you get those two together, it's considered a double rainbow, and that's something I always try to look for. So this gives me the confidence knowing that when I take a long position, the bulls are in control and it's above the cloud. It's a win-win on every front, okay? So that basically told us that we're going to have another increase. Now again, 100%, 50%, 20%, whatever the case is, it still goes up, right? That's the key takeaway here. We weren't expecting this as much, but just bear in mind that's kind of where we're at. All right, so last thing we want to look at here is potential for LRC, right? I always get this question, where's it going to go? Obviously, that's part of the reason why we're here. So why don't we go ahead and mark this here first of all. Go ahead and get back up to here. And let's see where we could be here if we continue. In other words, if we see a continuation like this again, another leg up, bear in mind, we want to see a period of consolidation first, right? We need to see at least, I would say, 12 hours of consolidation sideways action at one of those two support levels. But if we do see that, and that happens and we get another leg up, Loopring could be somewhere in the range of $1.91 by end of November. So my speculation is that by end of November, we'll see $1.91. I think that's pretty realistic. And then, of course, year end or perhaps early next year should be higher based on the fact that Loopring is, a decently sized coin. In other words, it has decent market capitalization, and it should be one of the first few to continue that trend once altcoin season occurs, when Bitcoin goes up to, blow off top, and it effectively starts losing that Bitcoin dominance, and all the money from Bitcoin starts filtering into these larger market cap coins. We'll see that happen soon. Regardless, in the immediate future, November, I would speculate that we'll see no higher than $2 in November, but 191 is a pretty likely scenario. Again, as long as we can get a nice consolidation period here soon, if it doesn't ramp up any further, we should be in good shape to see that. All right, so hopefully you found benefit. If you did, like and subscribe. If not, feel free to do so, or that's okay too. Either way, check out my Telegram community though too. More importantly, really good group of folks there. It's growing rapidly. I have a trading community where I send out signals for every single trade that I take. Awesome experience. I can't thank you all enough for just how amazing this has become. It's really the greatest thing ever because I get to actually teach my members how to become better traders, which is what I truly love to do. I can do it in these videos, don't get me wrong, but it's more, one-on-one, more specialized, and it's a really cool situation. So check that out in your own time. Either way, thank you so much for your time here today. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. You take care.